As you all know, the FCC recently voted to roll back Title II net neutrality regulations, which would basically ruin the internet. But before these rules are solidified, they are required to hear from the public for a number of months before later making a final vote on this towards the end of the year. Now, the thing about this comment system is that even though we're allowed to submit complaints stating that we're against the FCC's pro-corporate agenda, there's also thousands upon thousands of fake comments being filed on behalf of the industry using the industry's talking points with our identities claiming that they support Ajit Pai's agenda, and that's not acceptable. So what's happening here is AstroTurf. Now, the thing about these false comments using our identities, fraudulently so, mind you, is that the FCC should be investigating it so that way when they listen to the feedback that they're getting from the public, it's genuine feedback. It's not feedback based on shills or bots or trolls from the industry, but they're not doing that. In fact, Ajit Pai has been completely silent on these fake comments that they're getting. So you have the overwhelming majority in favor of net neutrality, and they're submitting comments. Again, there's been millions of comments submitted supporting net neutrality, and then you have all of these comments that are just flooding the FCC, and Ajit Pai is doing nothing about it. Now, I think that in order to understand just how egregious this is, you need the context. So, a couple weeks ago, I actually did a comprehensive breakdown of these comments and what was happening and just how egregious it was. Now, one of my viewers named Anissa submitted 2 comments to the FCC. The first one was submitted on May 13th, and she strongly encouraged the FCC to support net neutrality. She then submitted a second comment in the same month, also explaining unequivocally how she does not approve of FCC Chairman's agenda. So with these 2 comments, we know where Anissa stands. She supports net neutrality, and she is vehemently opposed to Ajit Pai's corporate agenda, but yet, on May 11th, curiously enough, Anissa realized that a phony comment was submitted on her behalf using a fake address, and this comment is against net neutrality. Now, it states the unprecedented regulatory power of the Obama administration imposed on the internet is smothering innovation, damaging the American economy, and obstructing job creation. I urge the Federal Communications Commission to end the bureaucratic regulatory overreach of the internet known as Title II and restore the bipartisan, light-touch regulatory consensus that enabled the internet to flourish for more than 20 years. The plan currently under consideration at the FCC to repeal Obama's Title II power grab is a positive step forward and will help to promote a truly free and open internet for everyone. Now, let me be clear. This is not Anissa's opinion. This is a comment filled with lies and talking points straight from the telecommunications industry. Keeping the internet free and open is the way it's been for 20 years. There was no change in 2015. The only change was to vote to solidify net neutrality and making it a utility regulated under Title II of the Communications Act of 1934 made net neutrality the law of the land forever. But since we see fake comments like this, which some refer to as AstroTurf, many people are inclined to believe that internet service providers like Comcast or Verizon are actually behind this phenomenon because, this comment includes their talking points. Now, unfortunately, Anissa isn't the only person whose identity is being used to support the agenda of the likes of Comcast and Verizon and AT&T. So, wrestling superstar John Cena apparently filed one comment on May 9th and 12 more on May 11th, and conspicuously, it includes the exact same language used in Anissa's false complaint, word for word. Now, note that most of these complaints filed under John Cena's name were filed on May 11th, which is the same day a false complaint was filed under Anissa's name. Now, additionally, using the same exact wording and date, Barack Obama filed an anti-net neutrality comment, allegedly, where he lambasted the regulatory overreach of his own administration. That's hilarious. Also on May 8th, former FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler had a complaint filed on his behalf when he voted on the rules that Ajit Pai is currently trying to roll back. And another noteworthy mention that had FCC complaints filed on their behalf includes Jesus Christ, using, again, the same talking points. Now, besides celebrities and biblical characters, there's even dead people that have had complaints filed on their behalf, and you guessed it, using talking points straight from internet service providers. So clearly, these comments are fake. There's thousands of them now. We really don't know how much there is, but we can anticipate that there is 1,000 at least, probably more along the lines of 10,000. And what's most likely producing all of these comments are bots. I don't know where they're getting that information. but they're getting people's names and they're filing false complaints on the behalf of people that actually support net neutrality. So that's what I talked about at the beginning of June, and the FCC is now refusing to address it. So there's a very clear reason why Ajit Pai and the FCC don't want to address these fake comments. It's because they like these fake comments. These fake comments are clearly originating from the industry, since they're using talking points directly from the industry. And we also know that the industry has infiltrated the Republican Party because they're literally supplying Republican lawmakers and bureaucrats with talking points that they use to either bash net neutrality or mislead the public about net neutrality. So with all these comments here, Ajit Pai can say, well, look, we took feedback from the public and we've heard out both sides, and it seems as though there's more anti-net neutrality comments than there are pro-net neutrality comments, so we're going to have to do the democratic thing and listen to these people when these people are not people, they're bots. These are fake comments that are using people's identities, and I don't know how they're getting them, but they're fake. They're also using the identities, obviously, of celebrities and dead people, and it's wrong. This is AstroTurf. It's when politicians or political organizations, they do something to make it seem as though the grassroots are in favor of something when they're not really in favor of something. So make no mistake about it, Ajit Pai and the FCC will use these fake comments to prove their point that the public doesn't actually support net neutrality, when that's false. If you actually explain what net neutrality is to the American people, they support it overwhelmingly. If you don't support net neutrality, you're basically allowing Comcast, Verizon, and AT&T, I mean, some of the most hated companies in the country, to take advantage of you and screw you over even more than they're already doing. I mean, net neutrality hurts the consumer, it hurts innovation, it hurts businesses, small businesses on the internet, and it's a way for Comcast and Verizon to shut down competition and censor information, even political information that could harm democracy. Imagine if, someone like Bernie Sanders, who rails against Comcast, was trying to run for a political position under no net neutrality regulations. Comcast could just censor internet around Bernie Sanders, for example. So this is unacceptable, and they're refusing to look into this, again, because they like these fake comments. So it's not acceptable. We now need to not just pressure the FCC to not go forward with their plans to kill net neutrality, but we also need to tell them to investigate these fake comments, because it's not acceptable. They're trying to give us the impression that the public is more in favor of their pro-corporate agenda than they really are. Nobody supports your agenda, Ajit. Nobody who understands what net neutrality is, that is, supports your agenda.
Support this podcast by joining the independent progressive media revolution today at humanistreport.com.